Okay, so I found this article called Spyro Reignited Trilogy Proves Nostalgia Can Only Blind for So Long. You're using Spyro as the example. What about Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee? What about that game? Oh, no. Even though people hate that game more than Spyro Reignited Trilogy, as the game has really sticker style like reviews, out of any of the most recent remaster collections I was looking forward to Spyro the Reignited Trilogy the most, of course, the original debuted on PlayStation, and of course, that person who wrote this has fond memories. It's being made by Toys for Bob, the person who made the people who made Class and State Trilogy for the Switch. There was reason to freak reincarnation of the Tommy diminutive purple dragon was delivered. Each game of the original trilogy received a fresco sparkling paint, making them look like a part of a modern game. As they say, looks can be deceiving. When I moved my nostalgia glasses, I feared the prevailing washed over me. You should play Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. That game it's really bad. I still think the game is like a 7 out of 10. It's still I think the game is for more newer audiences who haven't played the games. Who haven't played the games in the 90s, who owned an N64 and have like an Xbox One and PlayStation 4 now, but they haven't played the original Spyro games at all because they never owned a PlayStation, or non-gamers who never played games in the first place, or gamers who are growing up a new generation and the parents had these games, and they say, oh, I replayed these games as a kid. The Spyro games, the 90s kids are always those more blind people. They always think. But Class and Shade Trilogy and Spyro Trilogy are really made for, like, if parents, they play these games in their childhood. Spyro and Class and Shade Trilogy. They want to pass these games on to the kids, but they don't have the original PlayStation anymore. So they get a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One now, since the game's on the Xbox One, or even a Nintendo Switch. So since you can get the game Class and Shade Trilogy on the Switch, parents who play these games as a child would want their kids, unless the game is really bad and got really bad reviews, would want their kids to play these games. They would want their kids to try to experience these games as they wanted, as they experienced. So it's for those groups of those parents who grew up in the 90s liking these games, and now they want their kids to re-experience Spyro games, because there had been no Spyro collection since the PlayStation era, and Spyro was mostly on the Game Boy and DS for a long time. So it's really for those people who haven't experienced the original games, and if they want to now, they can. They have the choices to experience these games. There's a difference between this game, Spyro games getting a Wii collection, and the reason why I get angry when Xbox 360 games and PS3 games get the whole remaster remake treatment on the PS4 and Xbox One, as the games are just a generation old, especially games that released a year before, like Rayman Legends releasing literally 6 months after its initial release and being released on the PS4 and Xbox One. Yes. And a lot of people seem to like this game way more than Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Game Freak has used this nostalgia to really try to hammer in back the original players of the games, and it isn't really working, as the game has bad reviews on Metacritic by people who played the games, and probably on Amazon probably has good reviews on there since little kids are, since of course it will keep the kiddies entertained if they have a Switch. But really, Pokemon Let's Go for core fans, which is the market they have to contribute, they have to appease Nintendo and Game Freak. And that's the reason why Spyro is doing so well, despite fans and 90s kids giving the games bad reviews, because they have nostalgia goggles on and they can't really get out. It's really, and there are people who are angry because it just takes a long time to install a game. Well, EA did that thing. What EA did was really scummy, but Pokemon Let's Go, it still has really negative reviews. 5.1% of people liked Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Most of the user reviews are negative for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, so Spyro isn't really blinding nostalgia. It's really the 90s kids who have blinded nostalgia for the games. And nostalgia is a big problem when you try to remaster or you make an old game from the 90s still, because the 90s kids will still get angry no matter what you make. And Saints Trilogy worked because Sony was making sure that game was good. Sony did not make sure Spyro is. And people are saying the game well, plays better and works better than the original, so who wins here? The 90s kids the few 90s kids who will complain no matter what it is, or the people who want to pass down these games to their kids and want their kids to experience the same games they experienced in the 90s. Make sure you like, subscribe, and sell, and remember. Okay, goodbye.